ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवंश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वञ्चाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Hare Krishna. Welcome back. So today we will discuss from verse number 20, chapter 7, Śrimad Bhagavad Gita. So first we will chant the verse and I am not repeating the topics that we have already discussed from this chapter. So this is the verse where we will see Bhagavan is actually describing about the people who worship different Devis and Devatas, and also about the people who believe in the impersonal form of the Lord. So we will discuss this chapter after chanting this verse. कामैस्तैस्तैर्हितज्ञानः प्रपद्यन्तेऽन्यदेवताः तं तं नियममस्थाय प्रकृत्या नियतः स्वया. So we will see what Bhagavan is saying about such people. Synonyms: Kamaihi, by desires; Taihi, various; Hrita, deprived of; Jnanaha, knowledge; Prapadyante, surrender; Anya, to other; Devataha, demigods; Tam, corresponding; Niyamam, regulations; Asthaya, following; Prakritya, by nature; Niyataha, controlled; Swaya, by their own. Translation: those whose intelligence has been stolen by material desires surrender unto demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own natures. So we can see in the previous section, Bhagavan discussed about 4 kinds of miscreants and 4 kinds of pious people. And there we saw that the miscreants don't surrender to the Lord, and they have no knowledge of the Supreme. Whereas the 4 kinds of pious, they are having knowledge, more or less, and they are surrendered. They can surrender easily. So now Bhagavan is saying that, see Arjuna, there are some people whose intelligence has been stolen by the desires, the material desires. So they don't surrender unto me. They surrender unto different Devis and Devatas to fulfill their particular material desires. So it is their worship according to their own nature. Here in this purport, Prabhupada gives a very beautiful example that the reference is given from Śrimad Bhagavatam. There is a verse in 2nd canto, 3rd chapter, verse number 10. There it is said, Akama sarva kamo va moksha kama udaradhihi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. So, it is recommended that whether one is a pure devotee and is free from all material desires, that is akamaha udaradhihi, or is full of material desires, that is sarvakama, or desires liberation, that is mokshakama, from material contamination. In all cases, he should surrender to Vasudeva and worship him. So as we saw in the previous section, there are 4 kinds of Sukritanaha, as Bhagavan said. And we know the Artha, that is, we got the example of Gajendra. So there was a material desire. He wanted to save himself. Then Dhruva Maharaja, the Artharthi, he also had certain material desire, kingdom. Then Jignasu, who wanted knowledge of the soul or moksha. So we see how it is said, this particular verse from Śrimad Bhagavatam and the verse that Bhagavan discussed in the previous verse, in the previous section, the 4 pious people. So it is recommended that whether you have desire, material desire of all kinds, or desire for moksha, or maybe you are completely desireless, but in all cases, you should take the refuge of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. But everybody cannot do so. They take shelter of various Devis and Devatas with different kind of material desires. The people who desire for education, they worship Mother Saraswati. Who want wealth, they worship Mother Lakshmi. Who are in search of beautiful wife or handsome husband, they may worship Parvati, Mother Parvati or Lord Shiva. So who want to recover from bad health, they can worship the sun god. So like this, Bhagavan will continue in verse number 21 also. We will chant, because the discussion that is going on includes this verse also. Yo yo yam yam tanum bhaktaha shraddhayarchitumar Yo yo yam yam tanum bhaktaha shraddhayarchitumichhati tasya chalam shraddham tameva vidadhamyaham. Synonyms: yaha, whoever; yam, whichever; tanum, form of a demigod; bhaktaha, devotee; shraddhaya, with faith; architum, to worship; ichhati, desires; tasya, to him; achalam, steady; shraddham, faith; tam, that; eva, surely; vidadhami, give; aham, I. Translation: I am in everyone's heart as the super soul. As soon as one desires to worship some demigod, I make his faith steady so that he can devote himself to that particular deity. So how beautiful, as Bhagavan is saying, that, oh Arjuna, don't think that in this surrender, I am displeased with them, or I am not granting this. This is not the case. The truth is, sorry. The truth is that the faith by which they become able to steadily worship the Devis and Devatas, that faith is also given by me. And the continuation also we will chant the next verse. सतया श्रद्धया युक्तः तस्याराधनमीहते लभते च ततः कामान् मयैव विहितान् हितान्. So Bhagavan says, see, synonyms: saha, he; taya, with that; shraddhaya, inspiration; yuktaha, endowed; tasya, of that demigod; aradhanam, for the worship; ihate, he aspires; labhate, obtains; cha, and; tataha, from that; kaman, his desires; maya, by me; eva, alone; vihitan, arranged; he, certainly; tan, those. Translation: endowed with such a faith, he endeavors to worship a particular demigod and obtains his desires. But in actuality, these benefits are bestowed by me alone. So, as Bhagavan is saying that, see Arjuna, the people go to the demigods, the Devis and Devatas, with some material desire to be fulfilled. And through them, through the Devis and Devatas, who actually fulfill the desires, that is me only. So if I don't approve, then nothing is possible. Final approval is mine. So, see, whether the bhakti for the Devis and Devatas or the fulfillment, both are finally sanctioned by the Lord. And see, in this connection, if we can remember, we learned that when any action is performed, the first reason is that we desire. And the desire is approved by the Supreme Lord sitting in our heart as Paramatma. And he gives instruction to Prakriti, who makes all the arrangements to fulfill the desires. So this is the process. See, here only we can very much understand the relation, what he said there in the 5th chapter, and here there is a perfect connection between these two. And but at the same time, we know that Bhagavan does not give anything which is material to his pure devotees. That we know. And in this connection, there is a very beautiful verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita. আমি বিজ্ঞ এই মূর্খে বিষয় কেন দিব, সচরণামৃত দিয়া বিষয় ভুলাইব. So they may ask something material from me because they are fool. But I am not a fool. I am intelligent and I am aware of everything. So I cannot give them anything which is material. So by my Charanamrita, I will make them forget all the material desires. As we saw in the case of Dhruva Maharaja, we were just discussing in our previous class. So he started his worship with the material desire in his heart. But when he actually saw the Supreme Lord in front of him, he forgot everything. And he did not ask for anything material. And that is why it is said, and the verse that we read from Śrimad Bhagavatam, Akamaha Sarva Kamava. It is so correct in all sense. So we see that, okay, we will chant the next verses now. That is 23 and 24. Antavattu phalam tesham tadbhavatyalpamedhasam devan devayajo yanti madbhakta yanti mamapi. Synonyms: antavat, perishable; tu, but; phalam, fruit; tesham, there; tat, that; bhavati, becomes; alpamedhasam, of those of small intelligence; devan, to the demigods; devayajaha, the worshippers of the demigods; yanti, go; mat, mine; bhaktaha, devotees; yanti, go; mam, to me; api, also. Translation: men of small intelligence worship the demigods, and their fruits are limited and temporary. Those who worship the demigods to go to planets of the demigods. Those who worship the demigods go to the planets of the demigods, but my devotees ultimately reach my supreme planet. So it is clearly mentioned here what is the result of different kinds of worship and why. Why Bhagavan says here that small intelligence, because who desire for something material, definitely their intelligence is not of a very superior level. That is why Bhagavan is saying alpamedhasam. Alpamedhasam, this particular word is used here. So they are having little knowledge and small intelligence, because they don't understand that the results that they are asking for, it is limited and it is perishable. We will live in this world for a particular period of time, and after that we will have to leave everything here, and maybe we will be going to some different planet, maybe to the heavenly or the hellish planets, that we don't know, according to the merits and demerits that we have acquired from our actions, we will receive. But without understanding this, we still desire for these material things, which are temporary and perishable. In our previous lives also, we had many things. We definitely had accumulated many things, but we could not carry anything in this life. So similarly, we will have to leave everything here, and we will move on. But as we know, the things which will remain with us forever, that also we know. Nehabhikramanashosti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. So a little amount of devotional service also, if we can perform, that has enormous result. And that is not lost or diminished. It helps us in our spiritual advancement in the next lives also. That also we learned in 6th chapter from verses 41 to 47 probably, or 46. And so how the yogi who could not achieve the highest, Arjuna asked this question. So what is the fate of a yogi who could not achieve the highest platform? So then Bhagavan answered that according to his merits, he first goes to some heavenly planet and kshine punyamarte lokam vishanti. Then he comes back to the earthly planet, but he receives a nice birth in some rich or meritorious family, or maybe in the family of bhaktas or yogis, where he can continue his sadhana progressively in a better manner, and ultimately he becomes completely taintless and complete surrender. By complete surrender, he engages himself in devotional service and finally reaches the highest platform. So all these things we learned. But the people who don't know all this, they still are searching from these temporary and perishable things. So, and in this connection, there is a verse in Ishopanishad, mantra number 12. There it is mentioned that Andham Tamaha Pravishanti, the people who worship the Devis and Devatas and who worship the impersonal form. The fate is described there elaborately. If you want, you can study that also in addition to this. So we see, okay, we will continue the next verse. That is a continuation of this. Avyaktam vyaktimāpannam manyante māmabuddhayaha param bhāvamajananto mama vyāyamanuttamam. Avyaktam, non-manifested. Vyaktim, personality. Apannam, achieved. Manyante, think. Mam, me. Abuddhayaha, less intelligent persons. Param, supreme. Bhavam, existence. Ajanantaha, without knowing. Mama, mine. Avyayam, imperishable. Anuttamam, the finest. Translation. Unintelligent men who do not know me perfectly think that I, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, was impersonal before and have now assumed this personality. Due to their small knowledge, they do not know my higher nature, which is imperishable and supreme. So, It is the extension of the previous verse, as Bhagavan said, Alpa Buddhayaha Alpa Medhasam. As he said, Alpa Medhasam in verse number 23, and here he says Abuddhayaha. So, this concept that Bhagavan was unmanifest and now has become manifest, it is a wrong notion. It is not the truth. Bhagavan is eternally present in his transcendental form, in his transcendental abode. And it is his causeless mercy that in his original form, he came to this material world. The Lord's body is completely spiritual. It is not like our body, which is material. And that also is described very beautifully in Ishopanishad. It is said as Asnaviram, that the spiritual body of the Lord has no veins, which we have. So all these things are described in Ishopanishad also. You can study. But here what we understand from these verses, what Bhagavan himself is saying, that it is not the case, Arjuna, that I was unmanifest and now manifest, have manifested myself. It is not the case. So people think this because they don't know my higher nature. That is, I am imperishable and the supreme. As we already learned in verse number 7, Mattah parataram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya. Bhagavan is a supreme truth. So people who don't know this, that Bhagavan is the supreme truth and there is no greater truth than the Lord. So, who don't know this, they can think in this manner, which is the reflection of their limited intelligence. And in this connection, there is a very beautiful verse mentioned, which is written by Yamunacharya. Who was also a very great devotee of the Lord in the disciplic succession of Ramanujacharya. Here it is said that Tvam Shila Rupa Charitaihi ParamāKṛṣṇakāntā Satvena Satvikataya Pravalaischa Shastraihi Prakhyatadaiva Paramarthavidam Mataischa Naivasura Prakritaya Prabhavanti Bodhum. So, my dear Lord, devotees like Vyasadeva and Narada know you to be the personality of Godhead. By understanding different Vedic literatures, one can come to know your characteristics, your form, and your activities. And one can thus understand that you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But those who are in the modes of passion and ignorance, the demons, the non-devotees, cannot understand you. They are unable to understand you. However expert such non-devotees may be in discussing Vedanta and the Upanishads and other Vedic literatures, it is not possible for them to understand the personality of Godhead. Stotra Ratna 12. And we see in Brahma Samhita also it is stated that the personality of Godhead cannot be understood simply by study of the Vedanta literatures. पन्थास्तु कोटिशतवत्सरसम्प्रगम्य वायोरथापि मनसो मुनिपुङ्गवानां सोऽप्यस्ति यत्प्रपदसिम्न्यविचिन्त्य तत्त्वे गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि. So only the tip of the nail of his feet can be known by millions of years, after millions of years of sadhana, meditation. So, this is the situation, and therefore the Lord is saying this. And then he concludes why people are unable to understand him. In verse number 25, he gives the reason also. That we will chant. Naham prakashah sarvasya yogamaya samavritah मूढ़ोऽयं नाभिजानाति loko mamajamavyayam. So see what Bhagavan is saying. Na aham prakashah sarvasya. Okay, I will read the synonyms. Na, nor, aham, I, prakashah, manifest, sarvasya, to everyone, yoga maya, by internal potency, samavritaha, covered, moodhaha, foolish, ayam, these, na, not, abhijanati, can understand, lokaha, persons, mam, me, ajam, unborn, avyayam, inexhaustible. Translation. I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them, I am covered by my internal potency, and therefore they do not know that I am unborn and infallible. So Bhagwan himself gives the reason why people can't understand him. He clearly says that I don't manifest myself to the fool and unintelligent people. I cover myself by my internal potency, yoga maya samavritaha. So I cover myself. And therefore they do not know that I am unborn, ajam, and avyayam, infallible. Moodhayam nabhijanat. Who are full, they don't know me. In this connection also there is a very beautiful verse in Ishopanishad, mantra number 15. Hiranmayena patrena satyasyapi hitam mukham tattvam pushan apavrenu satya dharmaya drishtyaye. So there the devotee asks the Lord to reveal himself completely. So he says that, "O my Lord, you are the maintainer of the entire universe, and devotional service to you is the highest religious principle. Therefore, I pray that you will also maintain me. Your transcendental form is covered by the Yoga Maya. The Brahma Jyoti is the covering of the internal potency. May you kindly remove this glowing effulgence that impedes my seeing your Satchidananda Vigraha, your eternal form of bliss and knowledge." So, as we know, there are three stages of understanding the Supreme Truth: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So, almost every one of us have the experience of riding or driving some vehicle in the night on the highway. And if not riding, then at least sitting in the car or on the bike, whatever it is. So then when another vehicle comes from the opposite direction, what happens to us? We can only see the light and nothing else. What is there behind the light, we are not able to see. When it comes very close to us, then only we can be able to see what it is, whether it is a big truck or a four-wheeler or whatever it is. But from from a certain distance, we are actually unable to understand. We can only see the light. So that is the case here also. Bhagavan is covered by his Brahma Jyoti. And therefore, the people who are satisfied with the concept or with the understanding of the Brahma Jyoti realization, that is the light, the effulgence of Brahma, Bhagavan don't completely reveal himself in front of them. But when a devotee, by his devotional service, satisfies the Lord, then he reveals himself completely by his mercy. So here is the Jiva and here is Bhagavan. And here it is a Yoga Maya carton of Yoga Maya, that is the carton of Lord's internal potency. And here the Jiva is also covered by Mahamaya carton, the external energy of the Lord. So when a Jiva tries to serve the Lord wholeheartedly, unconditionally, and completely surrenders, then only it is possible to remove the cartons, the covering, one after another. First the Mahamaya from the side of the Jiva, and then Bhagavan also reveals himself by removing the curtain of Yoga Maya. So in Kunti Stuti also we see there is a very beautiful verse. Maya javanikachannam agnodhakshajam avyayam nalakshase moodhadrasha nato natyadharo yatha. So Maya javanikachannam. So this is the condition. Bhagavan does not reveal himself very easily. We need to pray to him. We need to satisfy him so that he himself reveals his form before us. It is only possible by his mercy. So what we learned from this section is this, that Bhagavan does not reveal himself to the people with limited intelligence. And that who takes shelter two different Devis and Devatas. The bhakti which is also needed to perform the worship of the worship the Devis and Devatas, that bhakti also is given by the Lord. And the fulfillment of the material desire of those people that is also fulfilled by the Lord through the Devis and Devatas. Without the Lord's sanction, it is not possible. Okay, so, and one particular just a minute. Verse number 23. This particular Devan Deva Yajo Yanti Madbhakta Yanti Mamapi. So, as Bhagavan says that yes, I fulfill the desires with which they are coming to the Devis and Devatas. That is true. But that does not mean that by worshipping them, they will reach my planet or my abode. No, it is not possible. Who are worshipping the respective Devis and Devatas, they will reach their planets. Devan Deva Yajo Yanti. So that is different planets we know. Sun planet, moon planet, and the other lokas also. Svargaloka, Satyaloka, Brahma's loka. So different abodes of different devatas are there in different Brahmandas. So Bhagavan is saying that as they are coming with some material desire, so they will be elevated to some higher planets, of course, but in the material world. They will not be able to reach the spiritual realm, the highest spiritual realm. Madbhakta yanti mamapi. My devotees can only reach my planet, my abode. Not everyone. Because we know, as the Jiva Tattva, we are part and parcels of the Supreme Lord. Similarly, the Devatas and Devis are also parts of the Supreme Lord. And in Śrimad Bhagavatam also there is a detailed description of the Lord's Virat Rupa, where we can find where the different Devatas are located in his Virat body, in his cosmic form. So that also we can see. We will discuss it some other time in detail. So now we have to come to the end of today's session. We are already late. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Actually, I wanted to finish this chapter today, but I could not. Thank you for joining. Hare Krishna.